are driven by the finer things. I see more than materials and wealth. What have you got to give to me? What I don't already give myself. You are driven by the
Episode of Illuminate Disclaimer. Sydney here. Hope you're finding an abundantly beautiful way to find illumination in your path. So today I wanted to talk about the act of procrastination. Now, I understand that everyone procrastinates in their own way and some people can't help it, but I'm talking about my personal opinion and my journey and my experiences. So if this does resonate with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to people who you think will benefit from this too. I'm just talking because I want to talk about ways that we can collectively improve our way of thinking, collectively improve the way we do things, and also just make sure that we're spending more time following our dreams and looking for positive outcomes in our own lives. So I just wanted to talk about ways that help me with procrastination. Now, if you're not aware about what procrastination entails, it basically means just like a spell of time when you just can't think and you just don't do anything with your time. For example, scrolling through social media, sitting and daydreaming a lot, or even just going on the computer and not focusing on what you're doing. And if you are a procrastinator, like I have been in the past, you kind of feel that you lose quite a lot of time on just the act of procrastination and not doing anything that you want to do which aligns with you. There's been times in the past where I used to look at my Instagram and I used to spend on average an hour a day just scrolling. And at the time you don't realize you're procrastinating. But even just doing this, it just takes seconds and seconds and seconds, which can be used to give you a point or two on how I shouldn't be procrastinating. So as they say, pennies make pounds, it all adds up, don't it? So an hour here, an hour there, that's 7 hours a week. That's 28 hours a month. That's 336 hours a year. 336 hours a year. See, that's just the maths teacher in me that just gets the numbers, but that's over 300 hours a year that we could just be spending on Instagram. And to be honest with you, there's probably some people who are watching this video who spend 2, 3, 4, even 5 hours a day procrastinating. And if you do 4 or 5 hours, that's well over 1,000 hours a year that you could have made into a business. You could have learned 10 new habits. So I'm just gonna write a few bullet points about what helps me about procrastination. And the first one to me is acceptance. In the past, when I used to be around people, I used to say, I wasn't on Instagram for that long. And when I found the stats, I was like, I was on that Instagram for that long. But then I used to just say to myself, no, I was there just finding education. I was trying to find things to further my business, find some more inspirational quotes so I could share them with people. But I had to be accepting in the fact that it wasn't all necessarily that. Sometimes I'll just go and just look at people's stories, look at people's posts, and just look at things that make me laugh, and you're just going to spiral from there. But it was me taking acceptance and just being like, like actually I need to be more mindful. Instead of me just saying I'm using it for education purposes, I started to find education in YouTube videos and listening to audiobooks, on going onto websites and just checking out things, how I can improve my craft without unnecessarily scrolling in between these posts. When you take away the procrastination element from your education and from your seeking, you realize that you become much more productive over time. And that comes with the accountability of it as well. If you have spent a day just being on social media, it happens to the best of us, just own it, just say, yeah, that was me. I did that, I take that, but that is not necessarily who I want to be, but sometimes I just need to take a break for yourself. Accept that as well. You're allowed to take breaks. And also say forgiveness. I just wanted to start with these ones because this is how you start it. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up at all. If you've done something wrong, just appreciate that you've done something wrong, but you've learned from it. That's it. Life is a teacher. And forgive yourself if you do spend a week or two just, procrastinating all the time. We'll do it, and we just need to own that. We just need to use the powerful states of acceptance and forgiveness. No matter what we do, we have to believe that we have done those things. We have to believe that we were that person in order to truly move forward with our lives and end that cycle. The other thing is journaling. Now, if you are feeling a certain way and you can't really think, then an important way to go forward is just to remember to write down the way you're feeling. Write down why you're procrastinating. Write down how procrastination makes you feel. And with that, you can find tools to enable yourself to realize, oh, well, I want to do this with my life and I'm procrastinating because of the fact that I don't know how to start. At least if you write down your fears or your insecurities or what you've been finding in a state of introspection, you can use that as a tool to move forward into your life to find a better version of you, whoever or whatever that may be. So by journaling, you actually can visualize your current state of being and just how to improve that in a beautiful and more beloved way. Meditation. Sometimes I procrastinate and I'm looking at things. Just looking at whatever it is. I'm just looking at videos. I think to myself, actually, why not look at my inner video? Why not look at my inner self? Let me look at my posts inside, Let me see my true mood. Sometimes you look at Instagram and you don't really see the true picture on how everybody's doing, You see the good stuff, but you don't necessarily see the bad stuff. And even myself, I put my hands up and say, yeah, a lot of the times I do post the good parts of my story. But I would say that on the bad days, I don't really have bad days like that. I usually just go into nature, talk to myself, or find a friend to speak to. But I have enough things to look at and to study and to read, which I've written myself, which actually helps me during my bad days. So even on my bad days, I'm still doing good because I have good coping mechanisms. If you do need some more help with coping mechanisms, please go through my video history, and I've got a video about coping mechanisms, but that's one of many, of course. And while you do that, please like and subscribe. And usually the worst case scenario is, if anything, I'm just more tired than anything else. So on my bad days, I'm usually just sleeping it off. But that's just because my body just needs rest, because I tend to do so many things and have no days off for myself. So I usually do about 3 weeks of intense work and then 1 week of intense rest, just to get the balance and duality in my life. So with a state of meditation, we get into a zone where we actually block out all outside noise, and we can spend all that time not procrastinating, but actually thinking about what we truly want, what our heart and our mind and our soul is telling us. And coupled with breath work, you get much more clarity and you kind of see more things that you want to do. You feel more at peace with yourself. Sometimes when I do meditation, I'm just like, wow, I actually look outside of my body, inside my body, well, outside of my body, and I'm looking at myself and I'm saying to myself, I want to do so much, but I'm actually just here just procrastinating. And it puts me into gear. No, what am I doing? Let me do this, this and that. And then the incentive can be procrastination, but by that point I'm like, no, I'm in a state of flow. I usually get more done than usual. The final thing I want to talk about when it comes to procrastination is exercise. Sometimes I'll be on my phone and I do nothing, and I think to myself, how about I just go for a walk and do nothing? That way, if you're on a phone and you're looking at social media, for example, or you're watching a TV program, you don't really focus by being present. You're basically looking at a show which is set in the past, but they talk about the future and they're talking about action, and your mind's not really transported to the place you want to be. You're spending 4 or 5 hours watching a show which has nothing to do in relationship to you or your goals most of the time. So by saying to myself, actually, you know what, let me walk. Even if you're just walking and doing nothing, you're paying attention to the birds, the bees, the skies, the trees, the ground, what animals are crawling on it, You look above you, you can just see everything flying around, the sun, the clouds, the rain. You're in tune with all of these things. And you kind of see the signs within the details. And a lot of the time when you're in nature, that puts a lot of things into perspective. Even going outside at night time and looking at the stars, just going outside your front door or your garden, it just puts things into perspective. And sometimes you just look at these stars, you look at the arrangements of the stars, and then it puts your own life into its own arrangement. But don't dismiss these things as if, you know, oh, it never happens to me, or this is like hogwash, whatever. Because a lot of these things can happen. Some people have epiphanies just by looking at the stars. One night I woke up, I had this specific dream, and I couldn't remember the dream. But I knew I woke up in the morning, I had an epiphany, and I wanted to do more things in my life. So sometimes it's just paying attention to the finer details, and that's where you get the answers that you want. And a lot of people might just see walking as a form of being procrastinating because you're just walking, but you're still exercising, you're still being healthy, you're still being active, and that's a good way to activate your well-being as well. So this is another episode of Illuminate Disclaimer, and here are some of the things that I use to overcome my procrastination. And there'll be more episodes like this in the future. I've got more videos such as Do You Overthink? I've got book reviews, I've got poetry reviews, I've got affirmations, but I want to do more. So if you have any suggestions or videos that I could do in the future, please just send a comment or direct message me. My email is set up with this YouTube channel, or even add me on my LinkedIn or Instagram as well. My link tree is below in my bio. And while you're at it, please like, subscribe, and share to friends and family and other people who could benefit from this. But until the next episode, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day, evening, night. And as always, keep on finding ways to illuminate your path.